Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to go over bin number 2. So this is our 10-gallon tote that we harvested a little less than a year ago. I think we're getting right around that year point, or maybe just hit it. And it's time to really start working at this material and trying to get this to go through and getting it ready for harvest. I really try to harvest them once a year. It's been some issues with that because I've been slowing down on feedings, or, I also had the issue with the fruit flies where I really loaded these up with some paper. And, so they're kind of going a little bit longer. Both of these systems are. But this one also, we need to start trying to work towards that end game of harvesting. And that's really the goal of these systems for me, is to get used food waste and then to come out with a usable resource at the end, which is something I can go into my yard or my garden. And if you watch those videos, I have shown where I can use them in my yard. I've shown them how I can use them in my garden. I've shown them how I use them in pots. So just some different things you can do, but the key is to get to that point where you can harvest. And part of that is slowing down on how much bedding we add and trying to get those worms to really start working on those castings and really get them filled out and all the everything into castings. You want, if 100% castings would be good, but at least like 90%. So you can have some bedding and stuff move over, but primarily castings, and we're going to start trying to work towards that. Now, the last time we had this bin, it was a little bit wet. So we're gonna see if it's dried out a little bit with some of the changes we've made, but we'll see how it's going. So let's go and take a look and see what's going on underneath the cover. All right, here we are with bin number 2. Our last update was the 12th. Today's the 22nd, and let's take a look here. So first off, no water, of course, on the lid. Not unsurprisingly, since we've got the bag system in here. Actually, hold on, let me just show you here. I see some spiders crawling on top here, which means that there's probably some fruit fly activity in here. If you see spiders like this, in fact, I see a fruit fly right there. Just get him. There we go. Killed him. So there is fruit flies in here. It looks like maybe that are kind of affecting the system a little bit, which can happen. They've come and gone from some of my systems. I just saw one, I think, crawling on the top. But again, you can see there are no springtails in here. I don't have any springtail issues. They seem to die in here. Let me just, if I see any fruit flies, I'm just going to kill them real quick. But there is some moisture on this bag system. This does look a little bit more moist. I probably need to take this bag off a little bit, which I think we'll do. We'll put it off to one side completely and sort of wrap it up in here, just to kind of keep it in here. But overall, it's okay. Let's start digging through and just take a look here. We probably will be doing a feeding. They are starting to eat at this shirt, as you can see. It's quite a lot of holes in there, and in fact you can see a worm poking right through. Right there you can see a worm. They're poking through. There's actually some more worms on here. Actually, these are little centipedes, it looks like, or millipedes. Sorry, not centipedes, millipedes. I don't know if you can see those or not, but there's some millipedes on here that are going to work on this shirt. That's fine. I'm going to put this off to the side for right now. That's where we last fed, so we're going to just come in on this side. This is way too moist. This is the material's still crumbling apart, but you can kind of hear it. It's not crumbling apart very well. There's too much moisture in here now at this point. So that bag system we need to take it off and let this dry out really. Now I was hoping that we could get this ready to harvest, but with it being this wet, it's going to be really, really hard to harvest. That's one of the issues with having a really wet bin, is that they get very difficult to separate the materials. They just clog up any sorters that you have, and then you're doing a light method, but when it gets too thick, it gets really, really hard to sort. And I've done that with other systems too. So you can just see it's kind of balling up when I press it like that. It's not just falling apart as I move my fingers around. So, but let's take a look here in the center section. See how we're doing with food. Looks like we still have food in here with some banana peel, so we won't have to do a feeding this time. Plenty of worms. Look at this though. We've got tons of worms in here. They look nice and healthy. These are a lot more active than bin number 1. I think because of the moisture content, they feel more confident. Let's just dig underneath here a little bit. Again, still a little bit, it's too wet. But their worms here are very healthy. They look very active. They look like they're really trying to maneuver around. I mean, if I were to turn this over, I bet, and we could do a time lapse of it, I mean, I bet that they would be digging in very quickly. In fact, let's do that. Let's just mix all this up real quick. See if we can get some worms on the surface, and we'll see how quickly they, and we can see here how they dig down in. So you can see there's a whole bunch of worms on the surface. Now let's just see how fast that they dig into this system. All right, so that was about 2 minutes, and you can see that there's almost no worms. I'm not seeing actually any left on the surface, maybe at all. I don't know if you can see any from your angle, but there's basically nothing left on the surface. The worms all dug down. They're very healthy, and they're really actually doing very well in here. But this is going to be really a mess to sort, so we're going to have to dry this out. So the first thing is that we really want to try to bury this food in that we put on the surface now. Just bury that underneath. Move this around. So actually, there's more food right here. So there's a lot of food in here. Plenty of worms, though, as you can see. There's tons of worms in here. But we really, really want to bury this down, and we're going to want to dry this out. So what we're going to do here is, I know that we had the bag on top for this system, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to put the bag to one side, and that side is going to be this side, and we're going to try to dry this out. There'll be some moisture in over there if the worms desperately need it. But we need to get some more moisture out of this system. As you can see, though, this is what happens with a moist system. You can see this worm is nice and large. I mean, look how large this worm is compared to most red wigglers. It's a pretty big worm, and that's what happens when you have really moist bins. The worms do get much bigger, I have found. They do like that moisture. I don't know if they can swell up with moisture or if it's a muscle thing where they need more mass to push through these the wet castings, which are a lot thicker. But they do, I notice, kind of plump up when the bins are really, really wet. So this is going to be a quick update here. We're not going to add any food. We are going to add maybe just a little bit of crushed eggshell to the top. I'm still seeing some dust in here, but not a whole lot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off my glove real quick. Actually, you know what? We'll just do this with my glove on. Let's just unscrew it here. We'll add a little bit of crushed eggshell just to the surface area here. This is going to just make sure that we still don't have any balance issues as far as stuff like that. You know, just add this all over the top right there. There's a piece right here that kind of, this must be a piece of kind of dried up or something like that. It was moist when I ground it up. But they'll break it apart. It's not a full shell. So there we go. Now let's throw our cloth back on here. We'll throw it back in the center here. But as you can see, they are really starting to tear this thing apart. You can see all the holes in it. As I've said before in the past, they will work through these cotton shirts and different you know, non-synthetic shirts. Make sure they're not synthetic. I have thrown in synthetic items like socks. That was not the best idea on my part. We're going to just ball this bag up and put it right over here like this. We're going to leave this open. We're going to let it air out. We are going to leave the lid on it, but there's more air that's going to transfer through because of the holes in the sides compared to when it has this really suffocating bag on top of it. So, as I said, quick update for this one. You know, no food being added this time. No bedding material, and we'll see if we can get them to work through this stuff and really start to dissolve everything down so we can do a harvest on this. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know down below, and I'll try to get back to you.